Duelks. I'm a junior at Holly Springs High School, and I'd like to share a story from my past where I didn't know what the four-way test was, but now that I know what it is, how I could have used it in this situation. So the situation, I was in 7th grade sitting in my social studies class, and I had a student who sat next to me that I didn't know at the beginning of the year, and we started to become closer friends as the year progressed. And so I guess he started to trust me more, and as our friendship grew, he started to pull some special things out of his pocket. And the first time he showed me something, it was an e-cigarette, which it wasn't that big of a deal to me. I thought wow, you're cool, you vape, big deal. And then about 2 weeks later, we were sitting in class again, and he pulled out a pocket knife, and it was pretty big too, so I was concerned about it, but I felt like since we were friends, he was just trying to scare me or show me that how tough he was. And the next day, I was going from first period to second period, and he called me over to his locker, and he told me to look in his backpack, and I saw what I thought was a gun at the time. This was a whole different feeling. I started to think of everything bad that could happen, why did he have a knife and gun at school? What was he planning on doing with it? Was he trying to scare me, or was he trying to get me in his plan? And 1,000 things ran through my mind. I knew one thing is that I had to tell my parents and the authorities. So I went home that day and I told my parents what I thought I saw, and they immediately contacted the school, even though I talked to them and said that I was scared about what this kid would do to me if he found out that I was the one who told. And so then about a week later, the principal called me down to the office where I explained in full detail what had happened, and I shared the timeline from when the first thing he showed me to the last thing. And I also noticed that he stopped coming to class, which scared me even more because I knew that he was in trouble and that it was my fault. And so about a week after that, I was called down to the principal's office again, where there was 2 police officers, and I had to explain the story to them. And they told me that the gun I saw was just an airsoft gun, but it didn't make that big of a difference because that can still hurt someone and be used to scare people. The only difference is that the tip of the gun is orange instead of black. And so the police officers also informed me that the student would be coming back to school within the next couple of days. And even though he was coming back, I was still terrified that he would try to use the weapons against me somehow if he bring it back. And once he came back, we didn't talk that much because our seats switched and we sat on opposite sides of the room. And as the year progressed, I talked to him and everything was fine. He didn't really use any negative tones or anything against me. And then once 7th grade was over, he transferred from my school, so I haven't seen him or talked to him since. But I believe I made the right and ethical choice to share with my parents, principal, and police officers. There's been a lot of school shootings in the past several years, and if I was able to stop one at my school, I think that was a good way. So with the 4-way test, this is how I broke it down after the situation. So the first question is it the truth? And yes, the story I told was absolutely true. The objects that I was shown at school shouldn't have been there, and by speaking and telling my parents and my principal that it was being true to my school and the responsibilities. The second question is it fair to all concerned? So the first question helped me answer that because it is fair to all concerned because telling the truth in the situation might have saved someone from getting seriously injured. The third question is, will it build goodwill and better friendship? I feel that it built goodwill with personally myself and other people in the school as trusting me. I feel like I built better relationships with the SROs at my school and my principal, but I do not feel that I built a better relationship with that student by himself. And was it beneficial to all concerned? Yes, I think in the long run, it's beneficial to all concerned, especially him, because that could have shown him that if he did something like that, he could ruin his life, and who knows, he might be in jail right now. I have no idea where he is. But yeah, so that's my story of how I used the 4-way test, and that's